Greetings, fellow explorers of interdimensional stuff. We're going to move on here to the 53rd siddhi, which can be seen as the third day of our 44th harmonic. The 53rd siddhi, superabundance, the end of evolution. The 53rd siddhi has given rise to one of the greatest misunderstandings in the history of spirituality, that of rebirth and karma. It is widely held among Eastern mythological traditions, Eastern mystical traditions, that the soul is born, dies, and then is reborn in another body over and over again. Through accumulated good deeds, the individual soul eventually attains transcendence of karma and becomes liberated or enlightened, at which point it cannot take another incarnation but returns to its limitless source. This is the basic dogma of reincarnation, or the transmigration of the soul in the Buddha's words. As there is no self, there is no transmigration of a self, but there are deeds and the continual effect of deeds. There is rebirth of karma, there is reincarnation. This rebirth, this reincarnation, this reappearance of the conformations is continuous and depends on the law of cause and effect. From the Buddha's words, it is quite clear that he has been greatly misrepresented down the centuries. He states clearly here that there is no individual self or soul to be reborn, but that what reincarnates is the karma of your actions. This means there is no such thing as individual karma. Your actions go into the collective unconsciousness where they stir up mirror counter effects. All deeds of a selfish nature reinforce the collective shadow frequency, and all deeds that bring about synthesis strengthen the collective higher frequencies. This process of reincarnation is explored in some depth in the 24th siddhi of silence. The great truth that comes through the 53rd siddhi is that life consists of endless beginnings but no endings. This is the true meaning of superabundance. Life goes on creating new forms whose actions determine the nature and destiny of future forms. There is no continuity between the forms themselves other than the genetic mechanism creating them. What continues and what is superabundant is consciousness itself, as it endlessly penetrates the collective and writes the story of evolution. In this context, the siddhi of superabundance is perhaps not quite as glamorous as it sounds. Material abundance is far more likely to occur at the gift frequency. At that level, there is still a basic interest in your personal destiny and the destiny of others. The energy of bhakti, or giving to others, creates a huge upsurge in the collective energy field, which stirs all sorts of beneficent energies to return to you. In this respect, you could say that the 53rd gift conceals the ultimate secret of material abundance. However, at the siddhic level, your identification with your body, destiny, and self totally dissolves, leaving you in a mystical state of pure emptiness and availability. In fact, superabundance in many ways is closer to the concept of emptiness. It is a place where there is no further expansion because there is no evolution. If you are identified with the form of the world, you are identified with change because all life is programmed to evolve. To one who has awakened through the eyes of the 53rd siddhi, humanity is both a being and a becoming. The form endlessly evolves, and here we humans have made a basic error. We have identified with the instrument of our awareness, which expands accordingly to the law of evolution. We are indeed entering a new evolutionary phase right now in which human awareness seems ready to make a quantum leap in terms of its expansion. But even though awareness may expand, consciousness does not and cannot expand, since it is already everywhere and everything, and even everywhen. I love the everywhen. This is crucial truth to understand. Beneath the form, consciousness never changes or evolves or expands or contracts. It simply is. Superabundance refers to the concept beyond abundance, a space in which life is witnessed impassively by life. At the gift level, one rides the current of evolution, which is always exciting and thrilling because you are at the cutting edge of awareness. At the siddhic level, however, all excitement and responsibility are gone. There is no longer an edge, since all is experienced as a game in time and space. There is no personal comment anymore. There is no interest in destiny or evolution or expansion, since all such concepts are seen for what they are. Places of identification which conceal the truth. It is here in the 53rd siddhi that we fake the allegorical meaning of rebirth. You cannot take another birth because you realize that you have never been born. The mind is no longer following the arc of evolution, but finally rests in its true nature as superabundant being. People born into the 53rd siddhi kill beginnings, or they kill endings. Whichever way you look at it, they bring an end to the paradox of human cycles. Superabundance is a space beyond frequency, but we can only describe it as a very high frequency at which there is nothing left to do in the world. The 53rd siddhi represents the state beyond and behind awareness, known as pure consciousness. Therefore, it can be said that consciousness in action manifests as expansion and evolution, whereas consciousness at rest is the true underlying nature of everything. These people of the 53rd siddhi were once undoubtedly seekers themselves, since this gene key involves the gradual expansion of human awareness. However, at a certain point you have to let go of your seeking as the awareness inside expands outside the form. Up to this point, expansion has been gradual, although it often makes small leaps and forays into higher states. At this final stage, the stage known as realization or enlightenment, the great and final leap occurs. It is the shocking leap into pure consciousness and the end of evolution itself. Wow, I love this. One of the things I really love about this work is it perfectly complements and highlights the other work. And yes, all of the works you could say lead nowhere because there is no end, no goal, no change, no transformation, no evolution, even though I'll use words like evolution and things sometimes because I find what becomes objectified very heavily in this way is the fundamental separationalisms that we embody at the shadow levels of things, and therefore we cannot see these aspects, and so we are caught in a realm of contractive causation, which leads to a whole world format of suffering. And so sometimes it's difficult to say that we can be ready to go anywhere. Though I feel, though, at the system level of these systems that are present, they inspire us to make our own highly educated sovereign choices. I can't tell you, no one can tell you what to do. I can be a way shower, and everyone has to choose for themselves what that thing is, though patterns can arise and we can help point those patterns out so that we can join each other in this whatever it is. I can't even call it anything anymore after a gene key like this, because ultimately none of it even exists. But one thing I know for sure is this and that both exist, which is simultaneously the causal manifestation and the ultimate kind of syntropic dissoluting effect of the eternal being. And so it's interesting because we still continuously find ourselves in this present state. And I feel that is still the reference point, which is we can reference both the ultimate and the eternal, and we can reference simultaneously both the causal and the embodied. And to be honest, I do feel a new world presence and a new world mental architecture is emerging because of that. Because of our ability to see ourselves as all of those things. Well, that will sum up the last bit of our gene key. Stay tuned for the commentary.